Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Welcome back to episode 46. On today's episode, we're going to be doing a roundup of match day 5. So, Group H and Group G, they played. We saw Portugal win against Ghana. We saw Brazil beat Serbia. We saw also some other close games, such as the game against Hawaii and South Korea. We'll be diving into it, and we're giving our full reaction. Let me introduce my co-host for today, Alex and Alvaro.
Hey
What's
guys,
up,
how's it
guys?
going?
Okay, guys, so let's start with the first game that was played yesterday. The first game that was played yesterday was Switzerland Cameroon. It ended in a 1-0 victory for Switzerland. I actually thought that game was, I thought Switzerland were the better team, but as like with the majority of the games so far in this World Cup, I thought it was like a very close contended game. What were your thoughts on the game, on that game specifically?
Um, I'm starting to realize that even though, we're seeing that yeah, African teams haven't won yet in the World Cup and stuff, they're playing very good games regardless. They're staying close in the first half, and then usually in the second half is when things fall apart a little bit. But they're holding it pretty well. They're keeping up with some major teams. We saw it in different matches today. We've seen it in previous games. Even though they don't come out with the end result, they're keeping up pretty well with top European teams. And today, Cameroon against Switzerland. Switzerland is not a top club, but an exciting 1-0 loss. I mean, and we saw how the Cameroon-born player for Switzerland he didn't celebrate a goal, so that was nice to see how he shows respect towards Cameroon. But it was a good game all around. I mean, it's not one of the games that will blow you off because I mean it's not a top game, but it was exciting and it was closer than people thought.
I okay, so I was just about to ask Alex for his opinion. But yeah, I completely agree. Like in Bolo scored, it was some nice build up play from Switzerland. They were able to put the pressure on Cameroon. I thought Switzerland had a lot of good chances. Just the Cameroon goalkeeper, he was able to basically save some very good shots on goal. You think about in the later half, the shot from Vargas. He was, I think, a constant threat down the left hand side. And this allows Switzerland to already put a foothold in their group. They have a good chance because when you think about it, when you look at the games that are played later that night, you have Brazil and Serbia, who are both very strong, I think, in my opinion. I thought Brazil played a good game. I believe they were dominant. And Serbia, I think they were a very solid team. And for Switzerland, these 3 points against Cameroon was vital if they're gonna path like basically advance to the knockouts.
Yeah, and quick thing, I had some technical difficulties earlier. Um, the thing about the Switzerland and Cameroon game, they teach us something, right? European teams that aren't usually the top of their class, of course, in Europe, they tend to struggle against teams from other continents, such as, well, teams like Cameroon from Africa and Asian teams. I think today showed us something interesting as well. Cameroon, although they could be considered the weakling in this group, they are no joke, and they're a team that can put up a fight. However, I would say my expectations were for Switzerland to win. Overall, I think they were sloppy, considering that, in my opinion, they have a stronger team than Cameroon, and they did miss some chances.
Yeah.
But, overall, I thought it was a good performance from both sides, and of course, Switzerland played slightly better. Cameroon made more mistakes, and that's part of the game, of course. But overall, I thought it was a pretty evenly matched match. At the end of the day, I thought both teams came in strong, and like I said, it was just a matter of who made the fatal mistake.
Yeah, it was just that who was able to score first because when we look at the game, like it didn't seem like anyone was going to score. But we now move on to the second game of the day. It was Uruguay versus South Korea. Now, I thought both of like this game, I thought it was mainly both teams unable to break the other team's defense. They were both. I think Uruguay had a couple of good chances, and so did South Korea. I think South Korea missed a huge chance in front of goal. But this is a very favorable result for Portugal. Actually, I don't think this is good for any of the other two teams, South Korea or Uruguay. Um, and I honestly don't know who's going to make it past the group because both of them, I think they were very similar in the way they played. They were just unable to break each other down.
Yeah, I mean the way they played, it didn't convince me that either one is going to um, completely annihilate Portugal. Like they're both Korea and Uruguay. Mainly Uruguay, they're more they're pretty like decently strong teams. They have some players that can take them to the next level. But I mean, the way they played today, it didn't convince me that it's gonna be as close as we thought. Again, people have bad games, teams have bad games, but we're gonna have to see more in the next in the next um round of games because I mean we really didn't see a breaking point from one team to another that showed that they can get to Portugal, whose match we will get into later.
Yeah. Hmm.
For sure. And like Alvaro said, to build up on that, neither team were as assertive and dominant as they should have been. Now, like Alvaro said, this is mainly a criticism on Uruguay because they are the stronger side. They do have more quality all over the pitch. It's a very strong, solid team, and especially up front where they always have class. They have Cavani, Suarez, Darwin Nunez. They were lacking a lot, and of course, like we said, the defenses were able to hold each other and to hold each team's attack, and it was also a very balanced game. But it is a warning for them, and like we said, it's a sign of hope for Portugal because things are a little easier for them now. They don't have a serious contender they have to worry about at the moment, especially because they got the 3 points. But now it's just a matter of seeing how things pan out. Personally, I
Yeah.
think, yeah, personally, I think it's gonna be a very close group. I still see Portugal and Uruguay coming through. I don't really think, as much as I would like for Korea to do good because of Heung-min Son, I don't really see them going much further on the group stage, unless, of course, Uruguay makes the fatal mistake again of not winning, in which case I do see Korea going through.
No, yeah. The next game for Portugal and this is going to be facing Uruguay.
Hmm.
This is a
Good
perfect
for
opportunity
Korea.
for Uruguay. Yeah, and South Korea plays against Ghana. So if Uruguay manages to beat Portugal, which they did 4 years ago, and South Korea beats Ghana, it basically opens the group wide open because on the final match day, it's going to be who basically goes through. It's going to be either Portugal or South Korea. Um, Now, we said this before in previous episodes. That it's going to be a very close contended group. Um, and it can be basically anyone can top that group, but Portugal is looking like the favorites. Um, I, but looking at the game more closely, do you think that Darwin Nunez on the left was working, or do you think that Suarez should have started?
Um, the thing is, I think Portugal have to go back to playing 4-4-2 like they've done for so many years with a two-man striker team. I understand Luis Suarez is older now, and he's not the one he used to be. Same goes
Po-
for Edison Cavani. But,
Portugal or Uruguay?
oh, excuse me, yes, Uruguay. Uruguay, yeah, Uruguay don't have the team that they used to. Um, it's always been a two-man striker team, and I think it works well for them. Darwin Nunez, I don't think he's well suited on the wing. He's quick and he's got good touch and good dribbling, but I don't really think it's his play style. He likes
I
playing more
mean,
centrally.
you guys have to realize Uruguay does not have the options to just say, you know what, let's switch it up. If they had the options, Cavani and Suarez will not be starting. They don't have the options to. They're trying to ride out having both
Well, yeah, they're,
vets.
they're
Both
putting. I understand. The idea is put as much firepower as you have.
no,
I
and
hope
that's
that
all
you
the
get also.
that's all the firepower they have up front. Again, if they have more firepower, they could very well bench at least one of them. They're not. They
Yeah,
have to. Their weak point is their attack. They have a good midfield. They have a good defense, and this wasn't the case before. But right now, their weak point is their attack because they have two vets that in any other top club will not be starting in the World Cup. So they have to do what they can, and who knows, maybe it clicks for them in down the road, but it didn't click today, and they don't have the luxury to switch it up like that. Because again, what do you do? You do it 2 minutes. Let's say you bench Cavani or Suarez, and you bring someone else up. That could disrupt the chemistry of the team. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But now moving on to the third game. This was one of the most exciting games of the day. It was Portugal versus Ghana. It ended in a 3-2 win for Portugal. Ronaldo scoring a controversial penalty, but he is now the only player to score in 5 different World Cups. That just shows his longevity and how he's been able to remain at the very top of the game.
Of course, and
Um,
congratulations to him. It's a huge feat to have as a player. Of course, he's the only one that's done it. So again, fair play. However, I don't think as a whole Portugal deserved to win today. They were extremely sloppy. They played terribly, in my opinion. This is one of the strongest teams in the world, player per player, and they should not be performing the way they did against Ghana, in my opinion. Of course, Ghana didn't play a great game; they were very sloppy as well. But considering the players they have, Portugal should have definitely come up with a win. And like we said, there were a lot of controversies. I don't know if the first goal by Ronaldo was offside. However, the
exactly.
penalty the
Mhm.
penalty was not a penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
um,
There was some very
That
controversial
was a
yeah,
disgrace.
I
but
mean,
now.
I'm not being biased or whatever you guys want to call it. I saw different angles of that Ronaldo penalty. That was not a penalty. That was ball and at most a little shove for the defender. That's football. Contact happens. That was not a penalty, but whatever. The second goal, the ball completely went through the defender. That was a big defensive mistake. That should not happen. So we can say that Portugal they have a little bit of luck on their side. That's football. That's sports. They played a decent game. Leao's goal was really nice.
Mhm.
That's their future right there. But they played a decent game. Ghana they show fight. I mean, yes, their first goal was a little lucky with a cross deflection, but they had a nice header in the second. And again, I don't see them doing much more against. Maybe they can tie South Korea or something like that, but I don't see them doing much more. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens against Uruguay. Then looking for vengeance, but I mean, I don't see them doing much more. I really didn't care about the outcome of this match, but I was lucky. I was lucky rooting for Ghana because they almost came back, but yeah, Portugal right now they need more than this. So we'll see how they
No,
square up against Uruguay.
mhm. No, the performance from Portugal, when you look at their squad, they have one of the deepest, if not the deepest squad in the entire tournament, like overall. They have some great talent in
On
defense. They have a
paper,
great
on
midfield,
paper they're
great.
nasty.
Yeah, they can field 2 or even 3 teams that are like very good players.
It's like Brazil.
Yeah, it's just like Brazil. And the performance that they put in yesterday wasn't that convincing, allowing Ghana to basically have as many chances as they did. If it wasn't for that slip at the very end by Iñaki Williams, it's a 3-3. And that was a huge chance missed by Ghana. And so I think Portugal got away with one, and they're glad to have the 3 points. But if they want to make it far in this tournament, they're going to have to improve. Because, for example, when you look at how Spain is playing, or how England is playing, or even Brazil, um, to
Yeah,
basically, and on
Pe-
top of that, Portugal's going to be either
and-
placed
and
on that side of the bracket.
People enjoy talking. Now I mentioned this: England, Spain, and Brazil. People enjoy like ignoring when the fact that good teams beat up bad teams. That's what's supposed to happen. The good teams are supposed to beat up on the bad teams. That's how they show that they're a good team. Just because the, I don't know, like Spain 7-0, England 6-2, Brazil 2-0. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. That shows their
No,
strength. People
no,
think that,
no,
yeah,
no, what I think is people are going at is that the level of like disparity between the other two. Like, for example, when you look at other games like the Brazil Serbia game, that was a very close contested game, and even Portugal versus Ghana, you would expect Portugal to blow out Ghana, but it didn't happen.
yeah, no, and I think we gotta take one main thing from this game. Congratulations to Ronaldo. I'm glad he He completed this today. I'm very proud of him. He's an idol to many, and to myself included. But if Portugal keep playing like this, there is no chance for them. Um, I don't see this team getting far. It'll be nearly impossible the way they're playing. Any other team would have completely punished them for all the mistakes they were making, and wouldn't have allowed goals in the first place. So
I think he's a new coach, but we'll see what happens after this World Cup.
Mm-hmm. But now let's move on to the final game: Brazil versus Serbia.
this was the
Now,
cracking.
this
I'll,
the,
I'll,
this
I'll let Alex take this one because I know I know his boy was there.
I
uh,
mean, phenomenal game. It was actually a very close game. I know Brazil had a lot of chances, but Serbia were defending amazingly. They also had a few close calls against Brazil, especially from corners, which, of course, going into the game, we knew set pieces were going to be their main goal just because of the height advantage and the physicality they have over a lot of the Brazilian players. But, like I said, beautiful football from Brazil as always. They have moments where they were a little rusty, I would say, just because have been a little bit since they played together like that in a game. But it was just amazing. Richarlison, what a performance! He keeps improving, and it'll be something for Conte to consider back at Tottenham when they come back from the break. Giving him more game time. I mean, it was just phenomenal. That first goal was good. It was a good finish. It was a tap in. It wasn't hard, but man, that volley was that
yeah,
bicycle kick was just it was
that
something else.
Richarlison was very nice.
It was
Um,
otherworldly.
mm-hmm. I
And
actually agree with a lot of what you said. What happened?
no, no, I was gonna say, and of course, there's other individual performances that were great. I thought Vinicius had a great game today. He was really dominant on that left side. Casemiro I thought was good today. He was important in that midfield, holding it together. Neymar was good too. However, we have to see how the injury progresses. I have
Yeah,
not followed up on it, but it
That
looked like a really nasty hit on the.
that ankle looks like a fucking bowling ball. That
yeah.
that doesn't
If
look good.
if Nate, it looks like a sprained ankle. And we have to wait a little bit longer just to see the severity of that injury. But it looks like it's going to be nothing. But if it is something serious, and I think it hampers Brazil's chances tremendously.
He's so important
Because
for that team.
it's so important for that team. Because even though he wasn't like at the center of both of the goals that Brazil scored, I believe that he was a key piece in that game to be able to basically attract defenders and basically find the passing lanes. And I thought Neymar played a good game. But as you
And
said,
with what you said right now, the thing about like him being impactful for the team and the injury like hampering the team, this one goes back to what you said about the depth of this team. I mean,
Mhm.
yes, Neymar is he's their leader, but I mean, they have the luxury with today's win and with how the group is looking for them. They have the ability to play out maybe the other two games without Neymar, give him the rest he needs, and still be able
Mhm.
to advance in first place past the group stage. We'll see. Maybe if next game by some reason they tie, they might rush Neymar back from rest for the third game so they can secure first place. We'll see. But today's win put him in a really good spot that they might have the luxury to rest Neymar and get that foot healthy and the ankle healthy for the round 16.
Yeah, and I think we're witnessing a golden generation from Brazil, a second one after Perez era. Also, I would say it'll be a third one because, of course, the early 2000s, late 90s era was also phenomenal for Brazil. But we are witnessing greatness with this Brazilian squad right now, and it's just crazy to me that you take off your starting players and you bring on Gabriel Jesus, Anthony, Martinelli, Rodrigo, all players that are just phenomenal and world
Players are
class.
top. Okay,
Yeah, it's
what happened?
no, I was just saying it's just crazy. It's crazy that
Yeah,
Brazil
yeah,
can do this
yeah.
now.
It's insane the quality that Brazil has. But I want to pose this question: if Neymar is to be rested in the next game, who is going to fill that cam role? Because they basically play in a 4-2-3-1. They play with Paqueta and Casemiro as like those holy midfielders. Vinicius on the left, Rafinha on the right, Richarlison on top, and Neymar right behind. who do you think would
I
fill in
think
that?
the wise decision, in my opinion, is Gabriel Jesus, Rodrigo, or maybe Martinelli. Out of those
Mark?
three, I would go with Gabriel Jesus.
Who do you
Those,
think?
mm, and because Paqueta, he plays a more advanced role in Leon, so what he could do is if he wants to be more balanced,
You bring
he
in Fred.
could, yeah, he can put in Fred as like the holding and move Paqueta more up top, or if he wants to just keep how it is, as mentioned, put in like Gabriel Jesus as that like second to center forward to accompany Richarlison. Um, but Brazil
Yeah,
played
no.
well.
I asked you, but I really like now I think about it, I can't really think of it like on the spot. So
No, no, yeah. They have a lot of options, and this is why they're one of the favorites.
Mhm.
And props to Serbia. That I don't think that Serbia made it easy for them. It took them a while to get going. And as Alex mentioned a couple minutes ago, Serbia were very good defensively. They had a couple close calls. For example, a couple runs from Rafinha, a couple shots from him, and a couple runs from Vinicius, who were just constantly creating danger. But Serbia were able to basically keep them at bay and allow them to score. And I don't think it's going to be very easy for Brazil, and I think they're very much going to be tested. It's going to be
For
like that.
sure. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
overall, it was a good match day. A lot of good matches, a lot of crazy moments. We possibly saw the goal of the tournament today. And
Yeah.
no, it was a
I,
great day. It was just a great day to watch football, for sure.
yeah, I completely agree. But guys, that was it for our roundup of match day 5. As always, I post a link on Twitter. If any of you guys want to join, you're always welcome to. Then this allows you to join in the conversation and just basically give your opinion on our thoughts. But as always, like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you guys all on the next episode.